Hello, so today I'm going to go over some troubleshooting in the PP5ES5, PP5ES3 circuit, and I'm also going to go over a circumstance under which it's not working and not turning on properly. So, one of the things you should know about the TPS51125 chip that I'm going to show you here on the screen in a moment is that this chip comes with its own LDO inside of it. So the way this works is this is over here, what I'm running around on the mouse is called a buck converter. What this does is it's going to take the 12-volt power supply and split it into pulses, and then through this inductor and using these smoothing capacitors, it's going to be turned into 5 volts. Now, this chip is going to be using these two transistors to create 5 volts. This chip, the U7200, controls these. In order to know what 5 volts is, it actually has a tab called VREF where it's going to be creating 5 volts. And it's using that to pretty much tell, long story short, it's going to use that to tell what 5 volts actually is. So on this board that I have here, I'm going to show you what it looks like. This is replaced already. Yoink, camera. Yoink. Now I have a confession to make. One of the people who works here bought these chips from James at L2, but you can't tell anybody. I know, I couldn't find them anywhere else. I feel sick to my fucking stomach. I feel sick. Alright, so I'm going to replace that chip now, and we were going to go from there. I'm not going to burn your speaker connector, even though I know you can reconnect. I'm lying a little bit. Just... I put that chip back on the table so that I can remember its orientation. So one of the things that I always do is I put the chip down and I forget the way it was oriented on the motherboard. Now one of those doesn't look as good as it should. Let's see if you can guess which one I'm talking about. See this? That doesn't look very complete to me. I want to know what that pad is for. It's pin 22. Now, pin 22 is the actual feedback from the buck converter going through C7260. Let's see where C7260 is, because this may be what's causing the problem. So this board went through a journey. So this was actually destroyed by somebody who sent it to my friend. My friend had about no sleep for 3 days straight, and then got a shipment of almost a dozen boards in, this being one of them. And he has been torturing himself with these because they were all screwed with by somebody before he sent it to him. And that's where they wound up here. So I'm not going to go through the entire thing, and I'm not even going to show you video working on these. I'm mainly trying to fix the issues that were created by original idiot. And then after that, I'm going to get them to a point where they should be easy enough to finish, and then move on. Let's go back into the microscope so you can see me shamefully try to run a jumper wire. Let's see. I can break that off in a minute. If you buy wire that's too high in quality, that makes it hard. It's a good thing I'm using battery wire. Yeah. Going. Smoke. Yeah, it's that nasty shit. Please don't smoke. It would be so nice if you don't smoke. Oh. Boo. Still 2 volts. Okay, so I spent the last half hour on what I call the rabbit hole to hell. So to give you a little bit of an update on what went on here. So I did manage to replace the TPS 51125. I actually wound up not needing the jumper wire. I was able to clean the pad and scrape away at it to the point where this worked. And this now is pretty much good. So this section creates 5 volts. Now the problem is when you turn it on, it wasn't actually working. You weren't getting any, there was no V-core, there was no MCP V-core, no CPU V-core. So let's move over here. Now, right over here is where the power enters this chip to actually power it. Now, one of the hints that you should probably have is if you look at that, you'll see that it's burned. And when you look that up on the schematic, let me just bring that up here. Okay, so when we move over here, you're going to see that U7400, right over here is where the burn occurred. So right over here where I'm moving the mouse, that moves over to here, which is pin 20 of U7400. Now U7400 up here, pin 20 is voltage in. If we follow that, you'll see that that is the voltage that goes into the chip. So this chip itself got burned. So PP bus G3 hot must have done something nuts, and after it did something nuts, it wound up burning just about everything on the board. Now the problem that we're having is that there's no MCP V-core. The MCP is think of it like a north bridge and a south bridge, just in a more modern and smaller architecture to make life a little bit simpler. So let's go over and see what that looks like on here. So this is the chip that controls the buck converter for MCP V-core. And if you look closely, you're going to see that it looks really, really disgusting over here. Let me just get a perfect light setting because that you can kind of get a better idea of what I'm talking about. Now, right over here is where it doesn't look good. So let's see if I can just get it a little bit of a better image when I go to 30x. Going to 30x requires refocusing on this thing. Yeah, so right there, that doesn't look very nice now, does it? Let's see if more light makes it obvious. Well, you get the idea. That is burned, and that's no good. So now I'm going to try replacing that, and hopefully any of the ancillary components around it. And what I'm really hoping is that if I do that, the rabbit hole to hell will come to an end. I am not a fan of the rabbit hole to hell. I am doing this because it is to help a friend. I do not spend my Easter fucking with Core 2 Duo boards that are destroyed for no reason. I'll always try to help a friend. So let's just go back on here and see what looks messed up. So this has a hole in it. Again, let's see if you can see the hole perfectly. So we're going to try to look up what that is. See that? No good. Then we're going to... Let's see. The chip itself, it has the nastiness over there. So let's go and see what those things are. That's what the screen recorder is for. And my board view. And hopefully nobody walks into the store, because every time somebody walks into the store, I gotta pause the video because I don't have a weekend person. I got sick and tired of driving myself crazy with weekend people that couldn't do what I needed them to. And now they're all gone. So that is a 2.2 ohm resistor going between... Come on, keyboard. Huh. Yeah, I gotta get batteries for this wireless keyboard. Either that or I gotta get one with better range. The problem when you buy those cheap $30 to $40 wireless kits instead of a good one is the lack of range, even when the battery is full. That's a 2.2 ohm resistor. Does anybody want to bet that that's no longer 2.2 ohms? I could always be wrong, but you know. $96 ohms. You're not 2.2 ohms. You got to go. Okay, so we're going to replace some of the terrible parts of that setup. And also another thing I'm going to be interested in is, does PP bus G3 hot actually show up on that pin that looks bad? So over here you see PP bus G3 hot is what is supposed to be there, which is the 12.6 supply that the machine is going to be running off of. Yet over here. So hopefully that pad actually exists. So I'm going to remove that. Watch somebody walk in. I've been interrupted about 5 times in trying to do this video, which is why I just edited out the whole rabbit hole part of it, because people just keep walking in. So on the weekends, it's just me here, so every time somebody walks in, I hit stop. Also, my office is in the back of the store, so I gotta walk about 60 feet every time somebody walks in to greet them. And believe it or not, this is actually less of a pain in the ass than having weekend people who can't do their job right. Okay, I'm gonna put that chip down on the table so I have its orientation even if I forget it. Move this old trash here. When this is done, I'm going to be very, very happy if it beeps. I don't even care if it beeps with RAM inside of it. I'll be just happy if it beeps. Because these machines, they won't beep when there's no RAM inside if the MCP is not working, not on, or not good. It's very, very rare for an MCP 79 or an MCP 89 based board to die because it's not tied to a powerful graphics chip. As you can see, I ripped something off just there. Great. This is as a result of me looking up every 3 seconds to see if somebody's walking in the door. It's amazing how that is not conducive to quality soldering. But again, I am actually happier like this than I am having morons work on the weekend. Okay, we're gonna be... Now we take a chip off of a board that looks like shit because I don't have any 820-2879 donors lying around. I don't have as much stuff for the older boards as I do for newer. For obvious reasons, you know, these are not worth fixing anymore. I mean, it's Core 2 Duo. This board is 6 years old, 5 years old, yes. All right. And somebody walked in. Okay, back to work. I love how they walk in and yell as soon as right as the chip is going down. I mean, like, they could have walked in after that, before that, but they know. Just like the board view knows which orientation the board is in so that it can open it in the opposite direction of me. Customers know when there's something important going on and they know to walk in at just the right moment to drive me nuts. That's part of life. Okay, let's replace the rest of that nasty junk. I should change my soldering iron tip instead of being a stubborn dumbass. That would be the smart thing to do. The smart thing to do would be to change this tip to the proper tip for the job it is that I'm attempting to perform. I know as soon as I go to change the tip, somebody's going to walk in. All part of the evil master plan to keep Lewis from being productive. Okay. Usually I say that when I'm done, I will clean the board to make it look nice. That will totally be my friend's job when this is done. It's one of the luxuries I have here. I'm not cleaning this when I'm done with it. Somebody else can do that. All right. I'll clean it a little bit just to cool it off. Some alcohol, I had a brush that was really good at getting flux off and it got lost. So this is just a regular toothbrush. Yawn. CPU V-core, MCP V-core,